Dragon Ball Super card game on a budget, episode 6, green cards. So these are some green cards that I like to consider when I'm, building a deck that's going to use green, obviously, right? Some cards are going to be finishers, some cards are tech cards. You notice that so far, all the battle cards we have up here are 5 costs and less. Part of that is because of To Save a Hopeful Future, which has the active main choose up to 1 green battle card with energy cost 5 or less from the drop area and play it. So, obviously, the most common way to get these cards into the drop would be to combo them off, right? And that's how you get them to the drop. And then you can use To Save a Hopeful Future to play them back from the drop for 4 energy. So this is ways we can cheat out 5 drops, which is really awesome. And most 5 drops have pretty good effects, so it makes it worth cheating them out, right? Super Saiyan Gotenks, for example, is 25k double strike, decent stats, right? Although when you play this card, choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active mode, then draw a card, which is pretty nice because it replaces itself. If you use To Save a Hopeful Future, you essentially are, through the draw, you're replacing the Hopeful Future, right? Which is nice. And then you're getting a body on board, right? And then you get to untap 2 of your energy, which is really nice since this is an old card. This is a set 1 card. Notice it says choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active mode. That means you can switch any energy. Obviously, multicolor. You can switch energy that's not green, for example. So that could be definitely very useful. As in, you can untap like blue energy, and then use Senzu Bean to untap more energy, right? There's a line of play that I like to do where I have 2 copies of To Save a Hopeful Future, right? Play 1 to bring back Gotenks. Gotenks will let me untap 2 energies, right? Then use the leader's ability to awaken, right? The leader's awaken ability to untap 2 more energy. So that right there, I have 4 energy, which means I could play another save for a Hopeful Future. Which, let's say I grab another Gotenks, which lets me untap 2 energy and draw a card. So then, off of 4 energy, I'm able to put 2 25k double strikes on board, able to draw 2 cards to replace the 2 To Save a Hopeful Futures that I played, right? And plus, still have 2 energy up just in case I want to play a bigger more or any negate or whatever, or any other card of my choosing, right? So it's pretty awesome, right? Or maybe play a 2-drop unison, or for example, like this one's a good one. This works like a bigger more. Plus, it's a body on board, so pay 2, drop this, swing with this, right? Swing with the Gotenks, right? And then use this card -2, and bang, have a bigger more effect on your opponent's turn. Lots of synergy, right? So stuff like that, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool lines of play, right? He does have a evolve ability where for 4 energy, you can evolve on top of a Gotenks. And he happens to be a Gotenks, right? So that's a thing. So that's pretty cool. Here he has an ability to essentially cheat him out for 4, but then of course we have the To Save for Hopeful Future, which is generic enough that you can use it on anything you want. If you really need to, you could pay 4 to play this, right? And then bring back a Belmont from your drop, and then use Belmont's ability to pop, a battle card, for example. So that's pretty cool stuff, right? Then we have Goku, Pride of the Saiyans, 25k double strike, pretty good, right? Permanent, this card can't be removed from your battle area by skill, so that means it can't be KO'd by like Charismatic Villain Frieza or Warped, or KO'd through a active battle effect or something that might try to KO this card. So that's pretty nice. So it has protection, which is nice to have. Doesn't have deflect, so that's a thing, right? The second auto is what we're using this for, other than the fact that it has some type of has some protection from skills, and it's 25k. That was right. It's the second auto. When this card is played, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, which is important, right? And KO them. So this is a board wipe on top of the fact that it ignores barrier, which is nice. And it's a 25k double strike that it's immune to removal effects, which is really awesome. And it's a rare. This Goten is also rare, so I actually have these two. They're good cards, and to save a whole few features of comic. So these are pretty cheap to get, and they're pretty good. Of course, you can always hard cast these, which is always nice. So good reasons to have them, just in case you ever need them, because they're relatively good 5-drops. Then we got Kami's Power Piccolo. We know there's a Piccolo assimilated ability. He's decent, he has barrier 20k, but he doesn't have double strike, and his ability is active battle, not active main. This card has barrier double strike. It's 20k 4-drop, just like the assimilated Piccolo, but it has an active main, which is once per turn bond 2. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So this is better in some ways, not so great in others, right? So the cool thing about that is you have to look at it that the Piccolo's assimilated ability, that's more of a defensive 4-drop Piccolo, right? While this is more an offensive 4-drop Piccolo. And of course, I do like my offense. So this makes sense that it works this way, where it has barrier, so it has protection, which is important, right? It's 20k double strike, which is nice to have, right? So you can use it as a finisher. And then it has the active main where, with the bonds effect, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it, which means you can KO a 30k Dark Broly blocker, which is always good to get out of your way. And usually a 6-drop 30k blocker tends to be hard to get rid of through skills, because most skills do 4 or less, or 3 or less, or 5 or less, like Piccolo, right? Assimilated Piccolo is nice, but he'll be better if he did 6 or less. Then he'd be really good against Dark Broly, right? He might be alright against what's it called, Red Broly, but not so good against Dark Broly. However, this card is good against Dark Broly, because at least you can use this card's ability to KO, anything, regardless if they're a 6-drop, 7-drop, 8-drop, whatever, right? So that's very important, very useful. It's inherently generically good. And of course, you mainly will use this to remove any problematic blocker. Doesn't ignore barrier, of course, but hey, get what you can, right? And this is a relatively cheap card. It's less than $1 per copy, so definitely good to have. Again, it has offensive capabilities. Just being able to get, and remember, it's active main, so it's not an auto. It's an active main, so that means every turn you can use this ability to get rid of your opponent's battle cards. So if you're good at defending, or you have a defensive deck that already can block attacks pretty well, then this will be a good way to KO battle cards every turn. That way you don't have to keep blocking and defending against the same attackers over and over again, right? The obviousness. So it's pretty good. I like it. I'm definitely going to be toying with this in the future. So we got Belmont, double the Devastation. I have this card as well. Active main, choose 3 of your battle cards and place them into your drop area to play this card. It's a 20k blocker, which is decent, being a 20k blocker, so that's good defense. But being 20k is helpful for when you want it to go be aggressive. And the fact that it's kind of like a self-Zeno. You send 3 cards from your side field to the drop to play this for free, right? So has a Salzano like ability. And then auto, when you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. And again, it doesn't say 5 or less, right? So you can KO 30k blocker, you know, Dark Broly blocker, or just a Dark Broly battle card, right? So it's always good to consider stuff like that. Dark Broly for me is like a, what is it called? They call a benchmark. It's a benchmark style deck, right? Where I look at it and I'm like, every time I consider a card, I use that as a like the standard. Can this card be good against that deck? Right? Because of the basic capabilities of the deck. Their battle cards are 30Ks. You know, can I use this card to deal with cards that have 30k power? Can I use this card to get rid of a battle card that's a 6-drop? You know what I mean? And the list goes on and on of, you know, what can this card do? So as you can see, this card KOs any battle card regardless of their cost. So this would work against Dark Broly. You know, just like this will work against Dark Broly. Similarly, Piccolo wouldn't, because Piccolo does 5 or less. But, you know, that's the thing, right? So that's why these are pretty good, because they can be used against Dark Broly. Not much else to say about this card other than it's an inherently good card. Again, remember, it's 3 battle cards, not 3 green, 3 battle cards, which means you can put this in any deck where you can get battle cards. I am still interested in confirming, double checking what tokens count. Would I, you know, because, you know, in most games, you know, tokens leave the field, they don't go to the drop, they just evaporate, right? They just disappear. Would I still be able to use tokens? So that's what I'm curious about. Could that be awesome if I could use tokens to play this for free? And here we go. Prince of Destruction Vegeta, Life and Death. It's a 3-drop, 20k, double strike, but it has Servant, which means it gets an extra 10k, so it's a 30k 3-drop. Think about that. 30k 3-drop with double strike. That's busted, right? And that's not all. Auto, once per turn when your opponent activates a counter skill. But, you know, that sounds kind of typical, right? Switch this card to active mode. So essentially, it's a 30k double strike for 3 energy. Its attack pretty much can't be negated with just 1 negate. Your opponent's going to need 2 negates to stop this. So that's pretty badass, right? So definitely, and it's an uncommon, so this card definitely should be cheap to get. And it's a good, you know, good 3-drop. You know, 30k double strike. Shit, I use 30k skillless battle cards, right? You know, and I gotta give them double strike. And if their attack gets negated, well, then it gets negated, right? At least this card makes it hard to negate its attack with just 1 negate, right? They're going to have to use a blocker if they just want to stop it 1 time. Or use an auto that negates an attack or something similar to that, right? Or just try to out-combo this card's attack. But again, 30k, remember that. That's Dark Broly status right there. 30k with double strike. So this is definitely something I'm going to be teching in more often into green decks. Of course, we're definitely going to be playing this bad boy, King Ko Supreme Ruler. This is the green topo, right? Counter attack, negate an attack, and play this card. Permanent, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each green extra card in your battle area. Which is interesting, it doesn't say with the field skill, just says green extra card in your battle area. So that's pretty cool. Typically, obviously, the most common green card that you're going to have that's an extra card would be a field card, right? A card that has the field skill. So that's pretty cool. I wish it would be cool if it did like green non-battle card, because then you can count unisons, right? But they don't want to do that. Then you got the second auto. You have the auto. Sorry. When this card is played, your opponent can't attack leader cards for the turn unless they choose 1 card in their hand and discards it each time. So it's pretty decent. You could play it for 2 if you have at least just 1 field card, right? Play it for 2, negate an attack, and then if any time your opponent attacks your leader, they have to pitch a card, which is the only real reason you're playing this type of card, is you're trying to protect your leader, not anything else like battle cards or unisons. Typically using this to protect your leader, which is nice. This is pretty cool, plus the art looks badass. So definitely expect to see this in future deck profiles. And this is an uncommon, so that's nice. Should be definitely budget. Even though it feels like it should be like an SR and more expensive. I don't know why I feel that way, but it's nice that it's an uncommon. So as soon as this drop is as soon as you should pick it up. I'm just saying. Zarbon Cosmic Elite. It's a promo card, blocker, 5k. Active main, pay 1 green, choose 1 green card from your hand, and discard it, and play this card from your drop. Auto, if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, when this card is removed from your battle area by a skill or KO'd, your opponent chooses 1 card from the hand and discards it. This definitely has the potential, since that active main is not a once per turn effect, does have the potential, if you can combine this with another card that can KO a battle card, especially if it can KO battle card and make your opponent discard a card in that process, plus this thing's triggering, making your opponent discard a card in the process, you could greatly reduce your opponent's hand size. Of course, they specify with this effect that they have to have 5 or more. So once you get to like 4 cards, you won't be able to get this card's effect no more. But the fact that you could, pay, bring it back, pop it, do something, pay, bring it back, pop it, that could be like a little hand loop engine in the near future. So it's good to have this just in case of that. Not only that, it's the fact that it's a reusable blocker. It's a green reusable blocker. Definitely worth having. It's a 2-drop, so you could use it for like Cell Zeno play or something, or some other type of play where you need that 2-drop. This can trigger the Beerus Majesty card. It's a green card, so there's synergy with that card. It's a good card, good card to have. Like, it should be cheap. I'd be surprised if it costs a lot. But it's a reusable blocker. It's a blocker you can play from the drop that's worth something. To me, it's in the same classification as, oh yeah, I forgot to put him in the video, the blue video, what's his name? Frieza's Universe 7 United, that one that you can play from the drop. Anything you can play from the drop is always good, because then that's just a reusable resource, right? So it's always good to have infinite resources, as they say. We got Bubbity, Bewitching Domination. What I like about this card is that its active main is not once per turn. As many times you could pay green, as many times you could trigger this effect. He has unique, he has Overlord, which is nice, because it definitely, synergizes with his freaking ability, right? If your leader card is green, so it's important that you have a green leader, but it doesn't have to be mono green, which is nice. Choose one of your green battle cards with an energy cost of 3 or less, and no keyword skills. It can have other skills, just not keyword skills, like blocker, double strike, barrier, things like that, right? It can have an auto. An auto is not a keyword skill; it's just a skill. It gains servant skill, and until the start of your next main phase. So this giving the servant skill means you're giving something 10k power. Now remember, it's giving something the servant skill, not literally giving it 10k, just giving it the skill, and then the skill, of course, inherently comes with a 10k boost. So giving something servant more than once is not going to keep giving you 10k. Obviously, it's just going to give you the skill, and you'll get the 10k just because you have the skill. So that's something to keep in mind. So you want to obviously spread this effect out to multiple battle cards, so that way they all get, the servant skill, and they all get the 10ks each. So for 3 green energy, you can give 3 of your 30k 30k, yeah. 3 of your 3-drop or less green battle cards, the servant skill, give them 10k boost. If you just so happen to have 3 30k skillless battle cards, since they're skillless, that means they don't have a keyword skill, obviously, right? Give them, servants. Now they have a skill and the 10k boost, and now you have, 3 40k, servant battle cards, right? Servant skill battle cards. So that's something fun. But I like the fact that it can give a battle card that you have that doesn't have a skill and the battle card has to be green, which that's a thing, right? Servant, so that way it gets that boost, and then you can swing and take advantage of the fact that you got the 10k boost. And then because this card has overload, which is the important part, right? You get to send that servant to the bottom of your deck to draw 2 cards. So this is a really, really good rare 1-drop, and it's a evil wizard body. So gotta keep that in mind, because there's a Hachiyak card that can drop this card. Like I was saying is, you get, there's like a Hachiyak Agent of Destruction card that you can pitch to play this out, so you can get it out, from your deck, for your deck onto play. So you definitely want to play 4 of these, 4 of that Hachiyak card, and bang, instantly have this bad boy up and running, ready to roll to help you start drawing 2 cards every turn. Just by making your battle cards, get the skillless ability, and I'm definitely gonna play around with that and do a nice little engine, especially if I can make an engine where I have like a skillless battle card, for example. More likely that's how the engine's gonna work. Skillless battle card with at least 10k power, right? 1-drop. Use this card to give it the servant, so that way it'd be 20k double K. That would be 20k because the servant ability. Swing with it. Use this card's overload ability to put the skillless card on the bottom of my deck. Draw 2 cards, and then use a whatever I use to bring out the skillless card, to be able to play out the skillless card, play it to be able to grab the skills card from my deck and play it onto the field. And then, it'll be an active mode, of course, right? Then use this effect by paying 1 green to give it the card servant, because it should count as a new card coming onto the field. Give it servant, and it'll be 20k again, and swing with it. I can only use overload once per turn, if I'm right, once per turn. So that's the end of that. But if I could do it more than once, oh my god, I'm gonna just keep on doing that, right? But as far as I know, you can only do overlord once. So now so that's kind of stuff I'm thinking about. Now, a lot of times holding on, getting certain cards because they have a decent effect where it's like, this could be something in the near future, and that's the important, is you never know in the near future this could be relevant. Of course, with all that drawing power, you can combine it with Zarbon to make sure you can always afford to bring him back, and not just him, but multiple copies. Of course, you need energy for it every time you want to play them, but it is something you could consider. So I like the idea. It's like, ooh, cool. It has Overlord. It could turn any of my battle cards into a servant. That is nice. Here's another thing. Since I was just mentioning Zarbon, the fact, oh no, can't use it on Zarbon. Yeah, he has blocker. I was gonna say, oh, you can use it on Zarbon, make him 15k blocker. No, yeah, he has blocker, so he has a skill. I don't think there's anything here that doesn't. I think counterattack counts as a like a keyword skill, so you wouldn't be able to do it on that. Everything else obviously has skills, but it's something to think about, which I like. So definitely some fun new toys to play around with. Then we got Bardock for Eternal Unison. Well, it's a good card. I'm thinking, why else do I have it here? Oh yeah, that's what it was. I just realized why. Yeah, it's a really good card, of course, because of its auto. It has the ability once per turn for you to combo kill, as it were. Combo kill. It has a combo killer effect, so that's always nice, especially if you're trying to stop a rival plays. Combo kill your opponent. So multicolor super combos, for example, or just any card that they combo that happens to be multicolor. It's like, oh, he's probably gonna do a rival play. Let me stop that. Or just hit a card that has 10k combo power, can drastically increase your defensive capabilities. This also comes in handy offensively, because you can attack and combo to make your attack strong, and then when your opponent tries to out combo you, you can be like, nope, I'll use this ability to get rid of one of your 10k combo power cards. And do you have any more combo power to add to this? No? Damn, my attack just went through. So that's something I like about this card, is being able to use it to greatly increase my my chances to out combo my opponent. So that's why it's a really good card. Then we have the +1 ability that lets you choose one of your green battle cards with an energy cost of 1. KO it. If you do, your opponent chooses one card from their hand and discards it. So you see that it has the effect of popping one of your battle cards, green battle cards, to make your opponent discard a card. This doesn't do 2 drops, it does 1 drops. But if it did 2 drops, imagine the synergy of this unison with this, right? Using this to KO this, and then this goes, does this thing to make your opponent lose another card. So you can potentially make your opponent lose 2 cards every turn with that little engine, right? But it doesn't work that way. They made sure it didn't. But you never know, one day, because this is a specified 1 green, there might be a card that might make it where all your battle cards on the field cost 1 less on, their energy cost is reduced by 1, then technically this will be a 1 drop, right? And then this combined with this, bang! 2 cards from your hand every turn, basically a rebrand every turn, right? So that's a nice little potential. So all we're missing is one more card, like a field card or something, to make this thing cost to be a 1 drop, and then bang, we got a combo there, right? So these are the things I'd be thinking about when I look at certain cards, like the potential of combining these cards in certain ways, or the potential of a card in general, if there was a card that's available that gets made in the future that can make some of these cards even more broken. His -3 ability, which is a very important effect, which gives him a 5k boost and triple attack for the duration of the turn. So you pretty much want to play him for like 4 energy, -3, but at least he still has 1 marker left, and he'll be 20k with the ability to attack 3 times, which is really nice. Again, if you first don't succeed, try again, right? So this will let you definitely try to win and go for game 3 times. So it's really awesome as a finisher. So it's good, early game to combo kill, and to if you play it with some 1 drops. It's good for reducing your opponent's hand size. So it's auto hurts your opponent's hand size. It's +1 hurts your opponent's hand size, and then when it's late game, at the end game, right? Then you can do its -3 and then go for game. And by then your opponent's hand should be pretty light as a feather, right? And then we got Golden Frieza, Unison of Malice. It has a +1 ability, draw a card, then choose 1 card from your hand, put it on top of your deck, and this card gets crit. So this effect of putting a card on top of your deck can come in handy in the future if there's cards that let us, play stuff from our top of our decks, like combo from the top of your deck, or reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a battle card, burn your opponent for 1 damage or some shit like that, or make your opponent discard a card or something like that. Then this type of effect would definitely come in handy. Or just like, hey, if you have a battle card in the top of your deck with like 20k power or more, play it for free or something. You definitely want to take advantage of this effect, right? So this is the kind of stuff you have to think. You have to think about the future, and that's what I do. I do future. I'm a futurist, so I always think about the future, like what could happen. So that's what I'm thinking of, what I could do in the future to make this card busted, right? One of the things I like about trying to do with this card is using this card to put on top of my deck an army of one, Jiren, an army of one, put him on top of my deck, and then try to combo my hand off on my opponent's turn, defensively, obviously, right? So that way I have no cards in my hand. That way when it's my turn, I draw the Jiren, right? At the start of my charge phase, he's the only card in my hand. Bang, play him for free. And he's a 40k, quadruple strike, and blah, 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 some other stuff. I think he has dual attack as well. So I think that's what it is. Yeah, dual attack, quadruple strike, 40k. I don't. Does he have deflect? I can't remember the other things he has. I just know that it's badass to be able to drop him for free if you can set that up. So this card can help try to set that strategy up, right? And then he has the -2 ability until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your opponent can't attack with battle cards that, unless they choose one of their battle cards that are energy cost 2 or more and place it into their drop area. So this has a what is it? There's a card that's similar to this effect. That's it. I compared this to Bigger More, but Bigger More doesn't do that. There's a card that does this. Oh yeah, it's the auto from the Super Saiyan 4 Goku Protector of the Earth. I think it was called, Protector of the Earth or something like that. It's the 5-drop unison, blue unison. So this -2 is similar to that 5 drops auto. What's nice about this being, is the fact that this is a 2-drop. So for 2, you play this for 2, -2, bang, you get that effect. So green has their own version of that effect, which is nice, right? And it's at a low cost, so you can play this and synergize with, gold tanks, for example. That's a thing, right? The fact that you could play this and then play Bigger More anyway, and then get and have both of these effects active, which is pretty epic situation. To put your opponent in, you drastically increase your chances of getting an extra turn doing that, right? So there's that. We have Vegeta, Resolute Agent of Destruction. What's cool about this unison is that there is a card. I'm trying to remember, it's a Agent of Destruction Broly card that has the ability to add this unison from your drop to your hand. So that's a thing. That's kind of nice. At least that's has that synergy. And I have the card plus this card to obviously do that strategy. And cool thing about this card is that it's a really it's a pretty much a common card, and it's a 4 cost, 4 specified green, 20k, double strike crit. So it does 2 damage, and your opponent doesn't benefit from it, which is always good. Has an auto, choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. When you play this card, or it says when this card is played, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignore and barrier, and KO them, which is always important, right? Or wipes. So it has pretty much the same auto as the Goku. The difference is you have to discard a card in order to trigger this effect. So this is a good card inherently because it inherently has the the board wipe ability. The thing about the Save a Hopeful Future and Goku combo is it gives you pretty much the same effect, but you get a much stronger. These cards have their uses separately, and you can use them individually to do individual plays. But when you combine them, you get pretty much this card's capabilities, right? But this has, double strike crit, which is nice. Has a +1 ability to give itself 5k power for the duration turn, so it can be a 25k double strike, just like this is a 25k double strike, but this has crit, so it's a little bit better. It's a unison, so it inherently has protection and inherently already can't be KO'd by skills and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff, just like how this couldn't be removed from the battle area by skill. So there's a lot of similarities between these two cards, obviously. And then that's mainly what you use it for, the whole board wipe and give itself the 5k boost, it's 25k double strike crit, and of course by giving itself a marker, it allows it to stick on the field a lot longer, so you can keep taking advantage of that 25k double strike crit every turn. It does have a -5 ability if your leader card is a evil wizard, and if the future they create more evil wizard leaders, or all your energy is mono green. So whether you have a evil wizard leader or all your energy is green, so it wouldn't be that hard to have a mono green deck. Choose 3 cards in your opponent's hands and discard them. So that's pretty nice. The funny thing you can do is swing with this, of course, because it has double strike crit. Do your opponent 2 damage, they don't plus from it, so they're not adding anything to the hand. Then do this card's -5 ability, because you'll pay 5 or play, right? Do this card's -5 ability, take 3 cards out of your opponent's hand, and then attack with like a leader or something else to finish out the game. So this is pretty good when your opponent's like at 4 life. Use this to take your opponent down to 2 life, and then finish your opponent off with another double strike play, and you'll greatly increase your chances. Yeah, pretty cool. Options. Alright, so we have SS3 Vegito, Peerless Warrior. We mainly use it for its +2 and -7. Mainly it's -7, but it's +2. Helps you get a lot of markers when you play it, because its +2 ability lets you choose all your mono green battle cards, and they gain revenge until the start of your next turn. So it's nice to give blockers revenge. So this combined with Zarbon is a reusable revenge blocker. And even if your opponent's like trying to avoid this card being a revenge blocker and KOs it with a skill, then it'll trigger its own effect and cause your opponent to lose some hand advantage, right? And so she could always bring it back and give it revenge again. You have a nice little engine going there, so that's the synergy you want to be able to take advantage with these 2 types of cards. So this is a really good card because it synergizes with any blocker, and Zarbon being a really good one. This is good as a defense, as in let's say you swung with this, for example, right? This was 30k double strike, all that good stuff, and it's in rest mode, right? And let's say, well, your opponent might not want to get rid of this. Since that's servant, it won't untap on your next turn, but let's say your opponent wants to get rid of this. Well, if you use this card's effect to give it revenge, it will cost them. They could get rid of it, but it will cost them, right? It's already going to be 30k, so it's already going to be hard to KO it by battle. And if they do, since you gave it revenge, they put in a lot of resources just to get rid of one measly card, right? So you gotta love that. Again, always make the game hard for your opponent, make it easy for yourself. Then we got the second ability, active main, -7 ability. If your leader card is mono green, look at your opponent's life, place 1 card among them into your drop area. Then your opponent shuffles their life, and then then they choose 3 cards in their hand and discards them. So in other words, burn. If your opponent has 1 life and you use this effect, you look at that 1 life and send that 1 life to the drop, and bang, your opponent has no more life in their life area and they lose, right? So this is one way we like to burn our opponent in green. A strategy you can do, of course, is play this as soon as turn 2, and start doing this +2 ability, even if you're not giving any of your battle cards revenge, just keep doing +2 anyways, that way it can get to 7 markers, then do its -7 thing to burn your opponent for 1, make them lose 3 cards from their hands, then pay 7 energy to play a second copy of this, -7, burn your opponent for 1 more damage, and and take 3 more cards out of your opponent's hand, and right there you took 6 cards out of your opponent's hand and took 2 life. That should either you already won because your opponent only had 2 life, or your opponent's down to 1 or 2 life and they lost 6 cards from their hands. 6 cards from the hand, which probably is either their entire hand or I'll say 70 to 80% of their hand they just lost off of these 2 cards going off, 2 copies of this card going off, and makes it easier for you to go for the kill, right? To swing with your leader, dump your hand into your leader's swing, and finish the game. That kind of in that situation. So really good card to have, really strong. So definitely must have to take a hopeful future. I already mentioned the different things you can do with this. The other thing that's important is the fact that this is a green battle card, not mono green, which means you can do multicolor cards. You can do blue, green, red, green, yellow, green, battle cards from their 5 costs or less. So the more multicolor, green multicolor cards that Bandai, adds to the game, the more targets this card has, which is always nice. So you can always, try to take advantage of that. Another thing to take into account is it doesn't have to be 5-drop specifically. You could do a 4-drop that is multicolor. And let's say you go mono green with your deck, but you get a yellow green card. It is a 4-drop, for example. Well, this will let you play it just using green energy. Pay 4 green, play this card from your drop, play that 4-drop blue-green card. Green yellow card, and do whatever that card does. It has to be worth something if you're putting it in the deck, right? And that's the nice thing about this type of card, is the fact that it can do stuff like that. Someday we might get like a 5-drop green battle card that can make tokens, especially if they make tokens with like double strike or something. Well, this would definitely be busted, because you can do this as soon as turn 4, right? You play this on turn 4, bang, bring out that 5-drop, make the tokens, bang, everything got double strike, swing for game, right? So this definitely can get stronger depending on what battle cards you use with it. Just like I like to use it with Goku, part of the Saiyans, so that way I can get the board wipe effect, plus have a 25k double strike that I can try to go for game with. Big or more, if your leader card is green, your opponent can't attack with battle cards with energy cost 5 or more until the start of your next main phase. Obviously, remember that question, would this work against Dark Broly? The answer is yes. So because of that, it's a good card. So it's something definitely to look into and consider. Interesting thing is, I was looking at a card. It was a Super 17. It's not cheap. It's like $25 or more. And it was like, this is a good card. Because it has the ability to get green extra cards from your drop back to your hand by warping cards from your drop and stuff like that. It's like that's good. That's nice. That's a nice 6-drop green card. Because of the ability to abuse, obviously, reuse big or more, even to reuse to save a hopeful future, that kind of stuff is pretty cool to consider. Definitely busted to use it to grab this bad boy. I definitely was thinking of this card when I was I was thinking of big or more, but I definitely thought of this card. I was like, oh man, that'd be busted to bring out that 6-drop, try to go, use this effect to get back this card. Try to go for game, and if I don't succeed in going for game that turn, at least I have this to try to survive my opponent's clap back, right? And then get another turn to try to go for game. All the good stuff. I did mention earlier, if you play this card, this is a good card to try to finish out the game. 25k double strike is always good. Plus you get to draw a card, which is always decent. And untapping 2 energy come in handy in case you want to play the bigger more to prevent the clapback. Always gotta take that into consideration because, the worst thing that can happen is that you have an opportunity to go for game. You take the opportunity, but then you fail to win, and then you pretty much lose after that because you had an opportunity, you took it, but you didn't succeed, and that can always suck. So it's nice to have a backup plan, and that's where these types of cards come in, especially this card. It's going to make it too easy to try to go for game, and it's like if you fail, that's okay. You can always try next turn because cards like this will help make it easy to defend. So even if you tap out, you still got defense. So this is a counter attack. If your leader card is mono green, negate the attack. Then play 1 meta token. Meta token. And it'll be 10k power. This actually gets more than that, right? This gets 5k power, 0 combo cost, and 5 combo power. So it actually has combo capabilities. So this token actually can be used to combo, which is nice. Different than most of the other tokens the other cards create. And this, of course, gaming blocker. So you could potentially stop 2 attacks with just 1 card. And as the permanent when your life is 5 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand by adding 1 card from your life to your hand and play this card for free. And that's the most important part, right? Is you can play it for free. So you definitely want to have this. It's a common, so it's not that hard. It's definitely going to be budget. We all going to be using this shit. Every deck's going to have, these cards in the deck, so that's going to be a problem. Which is why it's important to have cards that can dual attack is going to be very important. Cards whose attack can't be negated is going to be important. Counter is obviously would be important in that situation. What else? Burn effects, and the list goes on and on of ways to try to out these defensive cards. They're adding way too many cards that make it hard to go for game, and we obviously as players got to find ways to bypass that because we want to win. We don't want to, not win because our opponent has a free negate, a free blocker, a free card that can take our battle card on our turn, or free battle card that gets played because you have a unison and KO battle card, and the list goes on and on of a lot of free Hachiyak, right? Negate that attack, play this card, and the rest of the turn you can't attack. That kind of stuff. Free extra turns. Yeah, that's going to become a problem. It's starting to sound familiar. Am I talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dragon Ball Super? Anyway, that's the end of the video.